Welcome to the Future of Payroll and Workforce Management Insights by HR.com, your go-to resource for insights into payroll and workforce management. From navigating compliance and technology trends to exploring the latest in global payroll solutions, we're here to keep you ahead of the curve. Join us as we dive into the forces reshaping payroll and share practical strategies to optimize your workforce management. Let's get started. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Future of Payroll and Workforce Management, a podcast here at HR.com, where I am Executive Community Leader of Future of Payroll online community, and I do several other things related to that and a few other things. But enough about me. My guest today is Amit Levi. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And you are Chief Product Officer at Papaya Global, and looking forward to speaking with you about a very important, interesting topic today around the fintech sector and payments and all that. Before we get into it, I find that everybody that is a guest on this podcast has a real passion in the human capital management workspace, or what's called the world of work, which is actually a much more passionate name for it than human capital management. But what gets you going every morning when it comes to the world of work, Amit?
That's a good question to start with, I think. Actually, it gets me thinking as well. But I think what's very special in today is actually what we're doing now, right? You're wherever you are, I'm wherever I am, we don't even know, but we're equal because we're talking in the same show. And I think it's the same goes for the world of work. People today can be employed anywhere in the world. Any talent can have visibility. And I think this is awesome. And if you see that so many companies today are global, and that so many opportunities today are created anywhere in the world for any person, without any distinction, right, of wherever they are, whatever they studied. That's amazing, and to be able to enable companies to do that is what gets me going.
Yeah, I can see that. And I share your excitement over this, the ability to employ widely dispersed geographically dispersed teams, and just the way that technology helps them not only collaborate, but some of the basics of their work too, the scheduling and getting paid and these sorts of things. Maybe the getting paid thing is a good segue into our topic today. Can you help us kind of understand what's happened over the past decade or so, Amit? What's been this dance between fintech and payroll tech?
Yes, I think the world of work is going through an incredible change, which was very strongly pushed with the help of the global pandemic. Um, and my dad was going to the factory every day, getting up, rising up early, right, washing the car, walking to the factory, getting back at home in the afternoon after he met all of his colleagues. He worked with the same people for 30 years. They are his best friends still to the day. This is not how we work, right? We go to the office once every day, right? 3 days. Some of us don't go to the office, right? We work from home. Some of us are not working for one company. We work for multiple companies. The nature of work has completely shifted, specifically over the last 5 years, but generally. And we have the different employment types, right? Today, people are working as payroll employees, contractors, employment of record. This vast world of opportunities only teaches us somewhat about how much this world has changed. But in work is always driven by money, and money hasn't really changed, and many companies haven't adopted their money system, or how fast they can move money to how fast they can hire, or how the nature of work. Okay, so many companies did not adopt their nature of finance to the nature of work. And new fintech companies, and we can see actually the same thing as we see in the world of work, we can see in the world of finance. Some days back in the days, banks were the biggest thing. But today we have open banking and many different services like Revolut and N26. We can see so many different solutions, modern, that use banking infrastructure but are modern in nature. And it only makes sense to connect this change in how the world works with this change in how financing works, or fintech and HR tech should only work together. Um, and what we see, like in order to bridge this gap, companies needs to adopt real-time payments, multi-currencies payments. They need to understand compliance and global regulations, and they need to be scalable to be able to support dozens of different countries. Um, Actually, maybe an interesting fact on this is that I think from a EY research is that over 80% of multinational companies are managing employees in over 10 countries.
Mm,
Think of the operation a
wow.
company needs to have in order to manage employees in so many locations. This is not only global regulations and global compliance, but also being able to pay in so many different locations, so many different currencies.
Mm. It's interesting. You've brought up a lot of points, and you talked about how the finance piece of it and how it needs to be. What I'm hearing implied here is sort of embedded. Maybe you could share with us a little bit more about what does it mean? Because we don't just have full-time employees. We have contractors, freelancers, staff working through employers of record, these kinds of things in these globally widely distributed teams. What is this idea of embedded finance in the context of global workforce management?
Yeah.
Why is it so relevant? Why do we need it?
That's great. So let's get started easy. If we're doing something that is domestic, I have a company in the US, I have employees in the US. Most likely the same company that calculates the payroll will also pay it, because it's just transactions in within US banking system. It's pretty easy. And I would expect the company that calculates the salary to also pay it, because it's the same infrastructure. No problem. But when it becomes global, the problem is big. It's completely different than domestic. I As much as companies don't understand global regulations, they don't know, what are the tax regulations, what are the deductions anywhere in the world. They also don't understand global financing. They don't know global banking, and to be able to send money from the U.S., to Romania isn't necessarily an easy thing to do. To be able to send money from the US to Sweden or to Africa isn't necessarily an easy thing to do. And when you do it in the context of work, you got to be accurate and you got to be timely. You got to be compliant, and you got to understand local financing as well, local banking, and that's not easy. An embedded process is a process where the finance part, the money part, is embedded in the work part. So when you hire a worker in your HRIS system, in your people management tool, you also create this worker in your payment tool. And when you need to pay that worker and you need to pay the authorities, everything happens from the same system. Everything is embedded through a same process, and that is the way it should work. And what many companies are doing today, managing this as a separate processes, that creates many mistakes in people's salary, which is a big thing to be mistaken. It also
Yeah.
opens up a huge place for fraudulent actions, because when this very important, very sensitive data moves in between two systems, people can change things and add things, and it's just very hard on operations. The only reasonable process is to have the finance piece embedded into the workforce or people piece.
Help. Totally agree. Mistakes in pay are among the top reasons that folks leave. That employees will leave an organization. There's plenty of research out there. Half or more of employees will start looking for another job after one, maybe two mistakes in payroll.
Yeah.
So that's something you absolutely have to get right. I like to say that, nobody Nobody wakes up in the morning, turns the lights on, and when the lights turn on, call up the power company to thank them for getting the power correct, right? Same with payroll. Your payroll comes in right, usually, maybe once in a while, but usually you don't have an employee call them and say, "Hey, thanks for getting my pay right." Get it wrong though. And with the electric company, there's
Okay.
they have this whole sort of thing that this whole thing they wrap around it to let folks know that they're working on whether it's a big snowstorm or whatever, to fix the problem. And the same with payroll. But to be able to avoid those mistakes in the first place is really the best step to take to avert this sort of this existential threat to your retention as an organization. Maybe you could explain, help our audience understand a little bit more, like what are some real world ways that embedded finance is helping to solve challenges for underbanked or unbanked workers? Like maybe also, Amit, if you could just do a little bit of a more granular dive into or explanation of how it works, what it means for it to be embedded.
Yes. Um, Good. So there are two sides to this equation, as you said. There is the client side, right, or the company side, right, the global company, and there's the worker. And both want to have the benefits of this embedded experience. So I've talked a lot about the company side, and that means that think of it as the payroll cycle ends, right? When after
Hmm.
the salary cutoff and everything is then the payroll is approved, then immediately without any touch, the payment piece kicks in. And then money is being deducted from the company's bank account and being taken and then pushed towards the workers and towards statutory payments and others automatically. And that's how it is embedded. Of course, with approval chains, everything's built in, but the company has a process that is completely streamlined anywhere around the globe. It doesn't matter if the employees are in one jurisdiction or another jurisdictions, if they work in in the Far East or in the West. It's the same process. Payroll, salary approval, payment kicks in, and money is being taken as an embedded process. Um, but then you've asked very, very wisely about the employee. And I think, like, I have a dream, okay, about the employee experience. Uh, we are getting salary, we're getting payroll all of our life, right? All of our lives. Otherwise, it's very hard to exist in the world. And month after month, money is landing in our bank account, which is amazing. And as you said, we don't say thank you. We expect it to happen. Um, but what we dream about is that this experience, that the payroll can also be a worker experience. People can also enjoy getting paid, meaning the money should not just land in bank. When I'm getting paid as an employee, I imagine a world where the salary comes to me and tell me, "Hey, Amit, this month you've gotten paid better or differently than other months. I suggest you save some more money this month, put it in accounts." Or Amit, comparing to other employees, you're earning more than others. We suggest maybe you disperse your payments a little bit differently. Think of a world where salary is a financial tools for employees all over the world where they can better manage their finance. And you asked about unbanked or unbanked employees these days. And think about the younger generation. Most of them are, even when they're banked with a modern bank, right, with a neobank. Um, and we want to allow that same experience that they have with their modern bank also with their salary. And lastly is many employees around the world are unbanked. They're going, for example, many employees in the UAE they're hard. It's hard for them to be banked in the UAE. They're unbanked. So a modern experience, an embedded experience means that they have an app where they get their salary to, and that app helps them manage their salary. And that app has a balance. That app is connected to a credit card, and from there they can choose if they want to send some of their money back home. They can do it. If they want to go to a grocery store and pick some money up as cash, they can do it. If they want to pay with a credit card. They can do it, and all through their app, without the need to go to a bank, without nobody else touching their money. It's just between them and their employer.
I love that. It's really a seamless sort of, the old phrase, an end-to-end experience for
Exactly.
pay. And that's really, you know what, and that really feeds into employee financial wellness, right? And programs that, you can bring in, you can embed, apps into this where, someone can uh, disperse some of their pay directly to their, their portfolio, their stock portfolio, right? For their own, like managing their own retirement or stocks, right? So we're not just talking about 401ks, which is sort of the financial wellness option of well, it's still going on today, but of sort of old style, conventional type of solution there. But just expanding the vocabulary and concept of what choice means with your
Exactly.
pay and being,
Exactly.
yeah, and being, we all know that a lot of folks, they tell themselves that they want to invest, or they want to maybe put some of their money into gold or into crypto or whatever, right? But they just, every pay period comes around, they get paid, and they just never get around to actually figuring out how to do that, and they just stay stuck, and it's just kind of like a dream in their head, right? To be able to with embedded finance to sort of help employees in that way. That you're not just helping employees, you're helping the employers, because that becomes a draw. That becomes an attractive piece of being employed at that employer versus another employer, right? Until this becomes table stakes, which is, of
Exactly.
course, then it'll just be sort of it'll become institutionalized almost as an idea. I love this. This is super duper interesting. Um, why is it crucial for employers to partner with licensed end-to-end providers when it comes to embedded finance? How does that impact speed, accuracy, compliance? We haven't talked too much about compliance today, but also global payments.
Yeah. So that is a great question. Um, Money is very unique in the fact that you gotta have licenses in order to manage it. If I want to open my own Amit bank tomorrow, I can't. I need to be licensed, and licensing means there's somebody that checks what I'm do, and that makes sense. Make sure that everything, is how it should be. Okay, because for a global enterprise to trust any partner with their money, that's a lot of money, right? Even 1 month of a salary for the entire workforce of one company is a lot of money. Uh, you gotta be able. It's not you gotta. There is no other choice of working other with a licensed partner that can do business in the places that you need. Um, and then part of licensing, in order to be able to move funds globally, you got to work with a
Mm.
company that is that is licensed globally, that has a license that allows them to move and transfer. To hold and transfer funds around the world. Um, and then there is one aspect of compliance which is money related. That means that those companies can also pay to people that can get paid and not pay to where you should not pay. So they protect you in the aspect that you don't pay people that you should not be paying. And there's also an aspect of compliance when it comes to just hiring. You need to understand local laws, local regulations, tax regulations, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to workforce payment, you got to make sure that you have a partner that is both licensed financially, and also that is vetted in the local regulations, that they can give you both types of support.
Right, right. You don't want to have to be going to separate sources or to get your information to be compliant versus your information to get your people paid in the most
Exactly.
efficient way possible. Um, that is super interesting. Do you have any thoughts here? I'll throw a curveball at you a little bit, and there's no wrong answer here. It's just interesting to think about. What do you think is going to be the future of banks? in this new emerging situation?
I think what we see with banks is that they're becoming more and more of the infrastructure layer because even us at Papaya, we work with JP Morgan and with Citibank. These are our banking partners. And that's very important for our clients to know that we have a very strong bank on our back. And also, we leverage the infrastructure that that bank exposes. So, this is the concept of open banking. And banks are very good in that infrastructure part. However, in the part of being able to build a product that is suited to a specific use case, this isn't where banks excel. So what we're seeing with more and more of the banks is that they're opening their infrastructure as an API or now as an MCP. And companies that are younger, hungrier, closer to the market are building amazing applications on top of those banks. And then the clients enjoy both, a strong infrastructure and also a great experience that is tailored to their needs.
I, I would imagine that banking technology, the innovation in there is probably keeping pace, or the goal is for it to keep pace with payments technology to the extent that they're two separate things.
No, I think you're right. And eventually, you see in payments a lot of adjustment, a lot of innovation today. Also with new currencies, stablecoin and cryptocurrencies, and where few years ago you saw the old banking being more careful, hesitant about these new advancements. Today, you see more and more of even big conglomerates connecting a few banks together, building their own blockchains, their own stable coins, introducing their own currencies, because eventually the world of Swift will be replaced slowly but surely with a modern world, modern infrastructure, and banks, smart banks, will be there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really interesting and intriguing to think about. And I'm super excited to see where this goes in the next 5 years. And I can't even imagine where we'll be 10, 15 years from now. Um, Amit, thank you so much for joining us for the podcast. This has been just a very illuminating conversation.
Thank you for inviting me, and I hope we will continue to talk and we'll continue to see this world evolves because it is going to the at the direction of the workers, and that is amazing.
Yes, I agree. Thanks for tuning in to the Future of Workforce Management and Payroll Insights by HR.com. We hope today's episode brought you valuable insights and fresh perspectives on the future of payroll and workforce management. Be sure to check out more episodes and explore resources at hr.com/podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep innovating and making a difference in the world of payroll and workforce management.